Okay, well, thank you all for coming here today. My name is Desiree Baccus. My call sign is N3DEZ. I'm currently a member of this club and several others. I'm just like most of you, I'm sure. I'm also the secretary for the Lockheed Martin Waterton Amateur Radio Society out in Waterton Canyon. And I'm also a member of our ARRL's PR committee. So tonight, with all this extensive experience that I have, I just wanted to share with you guys a presentation that lets you know about or remind you about some things that we have coming up and kind of maybe that you might enjoy it and have fun with and find value in. So that's my goal. So this is just a little bit about me. I have over about 15 years of experience working with emergency preparedness and amateur radio. And I won't get into all that detail, but as you can see there, that's who I am. We all know that we use amateur radio to talk to people from all around the world without ever leaving the safety and security of our homes. And for a lot of us, that's what draws us into this, but other people, it's for the connection and getting out. It's like having a direct line to the whole planet. And I'm really addicted to it. So it is with this passion and exuberance that I created this presentation and have come here wanting to share it with you guys. Amateur radio was more than just a hobby. It's a gateway to thrilling experiences and endless possibilities. Whenever you are, whether you're an experienced operator or just beginning in the field to discover the wonders of radio communication, there has never been a better time to get out there and have fun with amateur radio, especially under this solar cycle 25, as we all know. So all I have to say is, maybe we should strap in. These are the things that I would like to cover. And it's going to be a wild ride. So we're going to begin with my pride and joy and personal favorite topic, NASA on the Air, which we call NOTA. And last year I was the co-chair for NASA on the Air and ran that campaign. It started with this gentleman here. His name's Rob Suggs, and he had this idea to connect NASA centers, standalone amateur radio clubs at each of our centers and facilities, and a collaborative and kind of cross-pollinating event that would spur camaraderie and competition and the love of amateur radio to the general public. This seedling idea for NASA on the Air was born through him in 2018. One by one, he enlisted all the hams from around the agency to kind of take on this mantle and it just came to life. Obviously, it was modeled after POTA and SOTA and all of the successes before it. But we do have, it's not really a contest, but it is kind of a fun scoring event, kind of like VOTA is right now. It's a scoring system that when you make a contact with a center on multiple different bands, then you get a point for each band and each center that you talk to. And then at the end of the year, there's a certificate that you can print off that tells you your ranking and how many people you've contacted and all that fun stuff. So it makes it really kind of fun. Plus you can contact each of the centers for their QSL cards and things like that. So somehow in his wise leadership, and he seemed to know that if he allowed each center to play a pivotal role in that individually, they would become more invested in the outcome. And so that's really the whole thing of it. This slide was created for my campaign when I was doing it in 2022. Obviously, it's still going on this year. You can still reach them at that website, which is nasaontheair.wordpress.com. to get all the latest information out there. So we really celebrate a lot of NASA's firsts. And so we do their, the past, the programs, Laddie, Viper, all of these different things that are the past, present, future, our missions, our programs, things that we celebrate at each of the centers, because it's a collaborative event, it's not something that's kind of set in stone. We come together at the beginning of the year to kind of set the agenda of what we want to capture. And sometimes it evolves. So we may not have something for June until May, right? And then something comes about or something slips, like the Artemis missions. We were waiting for Artemis 1 to launch and it kept slipping. And so our day that we captured it slipped with it. And so it's very important to monitor the website and get the most current information. These are all of the centers and the sites that are participating in NASA on the Air, but we also have the ISS. That's a part of it, that when people can make contact. Obviously, most of their contact with amateur radio operators is scheduled times with classrooms, but as we've all heard, every once in a while they do get on just for fun, and we never know what time or day that's going to be or where they're going to be at over the, in their cycles and things. So it's just kind of if you have an app, you can have the app where it reminds you when the ISS is going overhead. And that's how I know that I need to get out there and try to ping them. And so I know that they're over my spot here in Colorado, and I can contact them at that time if they're on the air. I have not yet been successful, but I know plenty of people that have. So I encourage you to definitely chase that if you're interested. It was for NASA on the Air. I ran it from NASA Ames Research Center. And so that's why this slide is from that center. So the next thing that I really want to talk about is the ARRL member opinion survey about dues. It's important and a serious topic and really deserves our utmost attention, which is why I'd like to bring it up here. For the PR committee, there is a survey. If you aren't a member of ARRL, we'd still like to hear from you, but unfortunately you won't be able to sign in order to get access to it, so you'd have to mail it in. But you can do that either email or physical mail. But if you are a member, it's much easier. You just log into the site and you can get that information. But as amateur radio operators, your voice in this hobby holds immense significance. It is within that same vein of significance that your opinion truly, truly matters, and we need to hear it. As members of the amateur radio community, we are bound together by a shared passion for this incredible hobby. And it is essential that each of us take on an active role in shaping the future of this community, including decisions that affect us directly. And in this survey, ARRL is asking for your opinion and my opinion about what's going to be happening coming forward. And it's really interesting. Most of them are, it just takes minutes, but most of them are multiple choice answers, but there's 2 open field areas where you can write in any of your thoughts, opinions, ideas, things that you want to voice to them. Say, this is working, this is not, and they will listen to you. I know for a fact that they are reading every single person that sends anything in, every single word. So definitely you're going to be heard. And so they want to encourage everyone in the Denver Radio Club to please sign in and do that. The upcoming member survey regarding dues increases for ARRL is an opportunity for you to express your thoughts, concerns, ideas. Your input will play a vital role in guiding our organization's direction and ensuring that it aligns with the needs and the aspirations of all of its members. Your voice carries the power to shape policies, especially this one. It influences decision-making and contributes to the overall growth and development of amateur radio. So I urge you again to participate in the survey, share your perspectives, and make your opinion count. The next thing that I would like to cover quickly is Amateur Field Day. And so as I say that quickly, I'm going to take the most time with it. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow amateur radio enthusiasts, let's really take a moment to step back and look at Amateur Radio Field Day. Amateur Radio Field Day is such a fun event for all of us. I know we look forward to it every year. I know I do. It's kind of my passion and blood that got me into this. I started with CERT, and they did one day of amateur radio. When I was there, the amateur radio portion was put on by the local amateur radio club, and they invited me to come to Field Day. I showed up at Field Day, and I had a freaking blast. They had a GOTA station. I was actually on the GOTA station with these Boy Scouts that were teaching me how to use it and how to get on the air. And I had a blast. And then other guys were telling me which radios to get. And then when I bought the same radio as one guy had, he helped me, get it configured, and it snowballed from there. So really, Amateur Radio Field Day is really a catalyst for really opening up an invitation to those that might be curious about amateur radio, as well as really embracing it for those of us that already have our license. So just keep that in mind as I kind of show you the rest of this. It's time when, Field Day really is a time when radio waves dance through the air, and when antennas reach to the sky, and when camaraderie fills the entire atmosphere, and it's palpable, right? It's the best part of what amateur radio is. It's community, it's togetherness, it's competition, it's excitement. It's all those things. And that time is right now. Like, it's going to be happening in less than a month. Well, a little over a month. And, but it's going to go so quickly. So I just want to dive into that. As passionate members of this incredible hobby, we have a unique opportunity to not only grow our membership within our own clubs, but also within the wider amateur radio community. And I think as ambassadors, each one of us have that responsibility, that opportunity, that blessing of being able to share our excitement and our fun with other people, just the way that it's touched us, so that we may touch other people and let it touch them as well. By reaching out and engaging with potential new members, we can share our enthusiasm and passion for amateur radio, igniting their curiosity and sparking their interest, as someone has done for us. Let's explore new exciting avenues to invite and engage these individuals, speaking directly to what their needs and their interests are. So if you are going to be doing, which I know you guys are, I don't know why I'm saying if. I went to your guys' amateur radio field day last year, and we had a blast. And it was wonderful to see everybody. We saw the antenna raising and well, a couple antennas raising. And we just had a really good time. And so what I encourage you guys to do is not only to embrace your community with your membership, but also reach out to your membership that's outside of your bubble, right? To expose those people. Invite your mayors, your law enforcement agencies, your fire, your all those kind of things. Invite your scouts, Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. Girl Scouts, if they do an amateur radio get on the air with you on your GOTA station, these girls, they can actually earn patches. So, they want to come. They just don't know when, and they don't know when you're going to have a GOTA station or when they're going to be, so reach out to the local, Girl Scout clubs and let them know that there's an opportunity for them to get this patch, and work with their membership in order to do that. Reach out to the people that, really will be sparked by this, and do it for non-hams as well as for hams, right? So for amateur radio, we really focus on our membership and on amateur radio operators that are already pre-existing, that have been in it for years and years and years. But the most fun that I've ever seen is when these operators that have been in amateur radio for 20-some years get a flood of young people in, or young enthusiasts, even myself when I was coming in, and I wasn't young at the time, but I was excited about it. And it's that excitement that feeds the operators, right? That makes it more fun, that makes it more sustaining. And that's what we really want to have for them. When we think of people bringing their small children to amateur radio day, sometimes they bring them in strollers and things like that, real tiny little kids, under 5 years old. It doesn't mean that they have to be left out of it, right? Make sure that there's like an amateur radio related coloring page for them to do. There's plenty of apps online that you can easily download any picture that you want, the international symbol for, amateur radios. It could be that simple, and give them some, coloring pencils, whatever you want, but engage people at their level. Make sure that your signage is out there with balloons or banners or bubbles or whatever you want to do in order to, get passerbys or foot traffic if you're going to be at a big park. So these are some of the few things that I've done for the Waterton Amateur Radio Club. But just through apps that I found online, there's a lot of educational apps out there for teachers that can capture the interests of children, teens, community groups, and let's showcase the fun and hands-on activities amateur radio offers. We can do exciting fox hunts if we wanted to. Obviously, our members want to be on the radios and making contacts, but if we have additional members that would be willing to do a fox hunt, that would be great, right? Or a high altitude balloon event. Obviously, that's something you'd probably plan for the year, for next year. You can't just pull that together in a month. But, all these interactive markers and events would make it just a million times more rewarding and fun than, just getting up antennas and talking. We can demonstrate and engage educational aspects of our hobby as well, right? So like I talked about the Girl Scouts with their radio patches, you can even do, little baby, the little cheap $5 amateur radio walkie-talkies, right? If you get a couple of those and have like 4 or 6 of them and put them with your guys' call sign and label them 1 through 6 and have them for little kids to play with, there's something to do. Also activity pages like the one here on the side, it is for doing Morse code, where kids or teenagers or adults or anyone that's interested could do it. But we're going to be giving away little cheap flashlights that they can go from one side of the table to the other or from across the room to one another. And they can send Morse code messages just with flashlights back and forth and see if the other person can decode it. And so little things like that, ciphers, like the middle one is a cipher that we did with a welcoming message that people can try to decode. And then of course there's, word searches and things like that. So it goes from hard to easy, right? Just a variety of different things. When reaching out to, young interns or college students or young professionals, or active adults, let's promote the captivating experience of Parks on the Air with POTA or Summits on the Air with SOTA, and the importance of the wilderness protocols for campers and hikers and bikers and overlanding enthusiasts. All of these people that get out into nature and get away from cell phone coverage to get away if an accident happens or they twist their ankle or they get hurt and they have an amateur radio with them and they are a licensed operator, they can dial into that wilderness protocol at the top of the hour. I know that that is an important piece of information that we need to be getting out there, especially in Colorado, where people are so active and we have so many opportunities for people to be out and enjoy this wonderful, nature that we have all around us. These activities combine the outdoor exploration with amateur radio and offer a refreshing and adventurous twist to our hobby, right? If you've never heard of Parachute Mobile, I would definitely check them out. They are an amazing opportunity to have them come and speak at your club. They are super fun. They jump out of airplanes, they skydive with APRS signals, and you try to make contacts with them as they're plummeting back to the earth. It is awesome. It's absolutely fun. Plus they do slow scan TV, so you could try to pick up, things. And they do travel around the United States. So they are based out of the Bay Area, but I know they go to other states. So if there's an interest, they might do one here. So, let's get that happening. And if we do, invite people to it. So things like that. There's also Ham Radio Adventures, which is another really cool group that they plan camping activities for amateur radio operators. So look up things like that and share those kind of things with them. And of course, the digital modes that are big with, especially the young professionals that are afraid of getting on the air. They still want to make contact. Digital modes, you don't have to speak. So there's not that mic freight that goes in, right? You don't have to get over that. You can start there and then introduce them to, you know, another avenue of voice or something like that. So another thing is we all, I'm sure, belong to more than one club. So by engaging with our minority groups and letting them know that we can connect them to other resources and clubs with rich histories within our hobby that can cater to their interests and their backgrounds, like OMIC dates all the way back to the Green Book, right? And so, I mean, these operators with the Green Book, when they were traveling back in the 50s and 60s, and it wasn't safe for African Americans to travel across the United States, and they needed to know where they could stay safely, those individuals were on OMIC at that time on this club for African American operators, and they could communicate to each other to let them know that there was a safe path and where, you know, things might be happening, or this wasn't safe, or stay away from there. And so they could communicate with other amateur operators as they were traveling across the country. And it was vital back then, and it's very helpful today, right? We have the Hispanic American Amateur Radio Club. We have the Active Elements and RAIBC for operators with disabilities. They do a lot with modifying your equipment, teaching you. They have a lot of work tutorials. So just because, you know, you're an amateur radio operator and you've been doing it for 45 years, and like me, my eyesight's getting worse and worse and worse. If I go blind, I don't have to freaking give up amateur radio. Like, I'm going to modify it and I'm going to figure it out. But these resources are available to me so that I don't have to. And so that's a blessing for me. There's RARA for the LGBT community, but there's a lot of resources that we can connect our people to other resources out there. And so if we have things like brochures with that at field day, then we can really speak to their needs as well. For engineers and scientists and tinkerers and our technology enthusiasts, which all of us are, if we weren't when we got into this hobby, it really brought us to this point. Let's highlight the fun maker nights that we can have, right? Things that we can do where we can come together and actually build something, solder something, create something, right? Whether it's, you know, kite winder, you know, radial, you know, containers or whatever. I mean, there's all sorts of a million fun ideas that we could do easily, and that could bring people together at all different levels, right? If you want something super technical, we could do that. If we want to do an antenna shootout, have all of the members in the club bring their antennas one day to a park and test them all against each other and see whose is the best on what bands, right? And see which you know, whips or whatever can work beautifully. So that kind of thing. Lots of fun ideas. For media influencers, like our media groups and agencies covering space news, let's highlight the thrilling space-related activities within amateur radio. Like you guys were talking about just a moment ago about moon bounce. We can also talk about CubeSats. We can talk about radio astronomy, and even speaking with our astronauts on the ISS, right? There's tons of things that we can showcase if we're talking to those niches, right? So showcase the incredible opportunities that communication and exploration that we have at our fingertips as amateur radio operators. When contacting our local news outlets, city mayors, local fire and law enforcement, veterans, DOD, and military contractors, let's showcase ARRL, RACES, CERN, our CERT groups, to emphasize the importance of amateur radio in emergency preparedness. We can highlight our role in providing essential communication services during emergencies, whether they're man-made or nature-made, it doesn't matter. When an emergency happens, showcasing our commitment to the community to be resilient is powerful stuff. And the people that really are into it, and I know every club has a ton of them, they're really a big proponent of it, and it really rings home that this hobby is not just for fun, it's also for practicality reasons and for community service, right? And if that's the driving blood of what amateur radio is, all the other stuff just leads us there. And so by demonstrating how amateur radio supports emergency communications and enhances readiness, we can strengthen our collaboration and mutual support together, right? From all of these different kinds of agencies and people. By tailoring our message to specific audiences and speaking directly to our interests to their interests and their needs, we can invite and engage a diverse range of individuals into a wonderful world, the most diverse, wonderful world of amateur radio that we have. Together, let's share this joy, this camaraderie, and the boundless opportunities that our hobby offers. So the thing I want to cover is our volunteers on the air. As we all know, our volunteers are the lifeblood, backbone, and the strength of our beloved hobby of amateur radio. They form the very foundation upon which our community thrives and exists. Every day, passionate individuals selflessly give their time, their knowledge, and their expertise to support and enrich the amateur radio world. In this spirit, VOTA was born and created by ARRL. We wanted to showcase, thank, and celebrate the volunteers that make our hobby so fantastic. Volunteers embody the true spirit of amateur radio, embracing the core principles of service, exploration, and innovation. They dedicate countless hours to ensure the smooth operations of all of our clubs, all of our events, all of our emergency communications, and our educational initiatives, whether it's organizing club meetings or coordinating field day operations or providing vital communication supporting during disaster. Volunteers are at the very forefront, working tirelessly to advance our shared passion. Their contributions go beyond technical expertise. Volunteers foster a sense of camaraderie and mentorship. They are nurturing the growth and development of new hams. They create opportunities for learning, experimentation, and personal growth, fostering an environment where knowledge is shared freely and friendships are forged. Volunteers also play a pivotal role in advancing and advocating for amateur radio and protecting our spectrum rights. They work diligently to ensure our voices are heard by legislators, regulators, and policymakers. Through their collective efforts, they safeguard the future of our hobby, preserving the opportunities for exploration, experimentation, community engagement that amateur radio provides. Without our volunteers, the vibrant tapestry of amateur radio would unravel. Their dedication, passion, and commitment breathe life into our clubs, events, and organizations. They are the driving force behind advancements in technology and contesting, our de-expeditions, public service, and countless other facets of our hobby. To each and every one of you who volunteer, I want to express my deepest gratitude. Your selflessness and unwavering dedication inspire not just me, but all of us. You are the heartbeat of amateur radio, and your contributions shape the future of our community. Today, I encourage us all to participate in VOTA, to celebrate each and every one of them for all of the meaningful little things that they do every day behind the scenes. And as we do it, let us reflect on their contributions with gratitude. Together, let us continue to foster an environment where volunteers thrive, where their passion is kindled, and where their legacy of amateur radio continues to live on. In closing, I would like to express my sincerest gratitudes to each and every one of you for joining me today and lending me your ears for my presentation. Your presence and engagement have truly made a difference. At this time, I'll take any questions if anyone has any.
Any questions for Desiree?
Desiree, are you doing VOTA? And if so, how many points are you worth?
I am doing VOTA, but as a member of the PR committee, I'm only worth 2 because I'm not like a board, a seated board member, but our PIC is worth several points. And obviously, Amanda Alden is like worth 175, I believe. Let me go back to that slide. Yeah, look at this. So if you get the ARRL president, he's worth 300. But the cool part is here at the section manager, she's 175 for Amanda. And then PICs, is PICs on here? I thought it was. Oh, the public relations committee is 35. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm only worth 2 because while I'm on the committee, I'm not like listed on their site yet as on their committee, but I have no idea. I can ask them. I think I'm only worth 2 because I don't have an actual spot on the committee. I mean, I am there, but I'm kind of under the PIC, which is John Bloodgood. So he actually is worth some points. And I don't see him listed here, but I know he's worth several points. I want to say he is definitely worth, he's at least worth 35 because he's also on the public information committee. I mean, the public relation committee. So he definitely is worth 35. I think I'm only worth 2 because I'm under him.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Like Jeff Ryan's worth 225.
Well, you know, but here's another really cool thing. All lifetime members. So I know there's plenty of them in your guys' club. Even some of you that are on here tonight might be. You guys are worth 2 points too. So you're worth just like me.
All righty.
So
any other questions? You know, you make the point about the league, Desiree, and I always, you know, I encourage our members to join. And you know, people will say, "Well, I didn't like what the league did about this or that, and I'm not joining them." But you know, as far as I'm concerned, that it's the wrong way to look at it. You know, we may not always agree with what they do, but you know, they're our voice in Washington. There's nobody else other than individuals. That's right. And
that's what I say too.
Whether you agree with them always or you don't, you know, their survival depends on amateur radio survival, and I don't think they're going to intentionally shoot themselves in the head, you know.
Exactly. Well, you know, the other thing is a great way for those people that are really concerned about a certain way that the ARRL is going with something, whatever it may be, is to join a committee, get on the committee like I did. And in all aspects, I am a nobody. Okay. And I got on their committee, actually was invited to get on their committee because of some of the initiatives and things that I did with NASA on the Air, but anyone can get on the committee on lots of these committees. So you're not a PIC, it doesn't matter. So you're not, you know, so there's 4 or 5 of us from Colorado, big deal. We have a bigger voice, right? Get on these committees, be a part of the voice, be a part of those active conversations. There are a ton of committees out there. It's not just public relations. Public relations is just my gig. So that's where I shine. So that's where, you know, I've kind of been pushed into that realm. But I really have a lot to do with emergency preparedness. I could easily go to that committee, you know, that kind of thing too. So whatever your interests lie, go look on ARRL and see where their committees are and put in an inquiry to say, how do I get on here? And they'll be like, feel free to show up. Here's the thing. And all of a sudden you'll be on the committee too. And when they ask for opinions and things like that, they want a voice. They want to hear you. They want you to give them feedback. That doesn't mean they're going to go with what I say. Nope, not even. But I get my voice out there. And a lot of times it's planting a seed, and it may not grow today, but it's funny how in a couple months it starts to. And then, you know, all of a sudden I see a little tree or a little, you know, and it's amazing to see what kind of impact you can have. So I would encourage all of us, if you're interested, especially if you're, you know, not liking the way that certain things are going, to definitely get out there and have a voice.
Absolutely. Any other questions for Desiree? And Jeff, I assume that you have put the link up for the drawing.
Yes, I have. We're up to a total of 7 responses so far.
Okay, so we'll kind of say it's the last opportunity here before we draw to do that. So are you going to make it out to our field day there, Desiree?
I'm not this year, only
Oh.
because this year, I know I am kind of bummed about it, but I am actually running the field day events for the Waterton Amateur Radio Club. And so
Okay.
because of that, I'm kind of stuck out there because I'm bringing it up and there the entire time. Last year, we come and totally play with you guys, and I really want to get out to one of your guys' outing events because you guys do a lot of them throughout the year. So
come to one of our DRC Saturdays coming up here.
Yeah,
The next one is the 3rd of June. So coming pretty quick. Our last one we did, anybody that, came and saw, but we thought, well, we didn't really know how it would go. We thought, well, maybe we'll get 10 or 12 people. Well, I counted at one point, there was 30 cars there. It's a lot easier to count cars than it is people moving around. But we had 30 cars in the parking lot, and that was fantastic for our first one. So hopefully they'll just get better and better.
I definitely want to go to those. And and the fun thing about that with being in a lot of different clubs, you take that information and then you can reuse it and repurpose it, copy it someplace else, right? So, I mean, I love your guys' club. You guys have such a very robust club and very active, right? So, I mean, I think that's the key. And it's so much fun to engage with you guys every single time, whether it's at Hamfest or, actually one of your guys' activities. And like I said, definitely your guys' field day was fabulous. Wonderful setup.
Always welcome. That's for sure. Any
Thanks so
final
much.
questions for Desiree? If not, Jeff, where are we standing there?
We're up to 9 now. Should
Up
I
to
spin the
9.
wheel?
Last call here. And by the way,
Put in her
great
name.
information. Great information, Desiree. Hopefully it'll kind of, I know what you're trying to do. Spark some interest, and that's great. That's great.
Thank you.
Kevin, you had something?
Absolutely. Feel free to post it for the rest of the
Okay, I saw you pop up. Kevin, do you have something?
Yeah, Desiree can put her name into the drawing. She's a member.
Absolutely. Go in there, Desiree, and do it if you care to. In the chat, there should be a link. So we'll do the countdown here. Give you any last minute opportunity. And I'll just thank everybody we're probably a little light tonight. We had 22 there. And a lot of times we have much more than that, but with summer coming on and all the activities, well, you can't do everything. So Jeff, how are we?
Still sitting at 9 responses.
Okay, anybody, last call. Did you try, Desiree? Do you want to get in or not? I think you're muted or you're not coming across. So.
Okay, I think I've got it in there now.
Okay. Okay, Jeff. Well, it's up to you, my friend. Push the button whenever you can.
Here we go. Let me get it sorted here.
But this is an electronic spinning the thing, so it's random.
Okay, and the winner tonight is Fred. I'm going to kill this Fred Welly, WEHLE AE0RK.
AE0RK. Okay, Fred. Well, congratulations. Kathy will be sending you the certificate, and you'll get it in a few days. She's out of town at the moment, but it'll show up. And we thank everybody for joining tonight. Desiree, especially thank you for your presentation, and maybe we can get you to come back and and do another one of these days here. So
I would
with
love
that,
that.
if there's
Thank you so
all great. Yeah. Well, I told her you're passionate about this stuff, and that's great. Anything for me about the club? Otherwise, we'll say 7-3 and good evening to everybody. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you,
Steve
everyone.
Taylor.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, good night, everybody.